Welcome back, everyone. It's time for a little bit of a flashback to Hawaii with an amazing observation that I was able to make while I was down there. So stick around if you'd like to know a little bit more about this picture. One of the major themes in the Flat Earth community is that we are unable to observe curve. And this claim that curve is unobservable is repeated over and over and over. The apparent inability for anyone to observe curve continues to be parroted, despite some other amazing observations by ranty Flat Earth himself. I've made very similar observations during my trip down to Busan and recently in Hawaii. I was lucky enough that the conference I was attending was at a beachfront hotel with an amazing view as ships entered the Honolulu harbor. Every morning I was there, I got up early not to disturb my wife and kids so that I could enjoy the ocean and observe the curve. While seeing ships clearly come up over the curve as they approach the shore, that isn't what piqued my interest on this particular day. Off in the distance, past ships that were in my line of sight, I saw what looked like a power plant or an industrial park. There were several tall stacks and one very distinct building, clearly visible from the beach in Waikiki. Well, a few days later, my family took a trip on a submarine, and we had the opportunity to photograph it again. These images are slightly closer, but not by too far. In some of the pictures you can clearly see distortion due to atmospheric interference, but there does not appear to be any inferior mirage, and comparing with the photo taken a few days prior, no major difference is noted that could be chalked up to refraction. After making the observation, I poked around on Google Earth and identified that particular building as being part of the Barbers Point Oil Refinery and Coast Guard Air Station. The first thing that I'd like to point out is regarding Nathan Oakley and Quantum Racer's silly new claim that Google Earth shows all oceans are flat and level, and therefore claiming it is their official model for the real world. Then I'd like for them to explain this. While their ridiculous use of Google Earth to show a flat and level ocean surface over deep waters, in areas close to the shore, you actually get to see the ocean depth. Sorry, Nathan, that kind of kills your belief that Google Earth shows all water as flat and level. But back to that building. Clearly we have the right building, so let's look at the dimensions of it and the distance it is from me. That building is 17.4 miles away, and according to the curve calculator, with no refraction and an observer height of 8 feet, 129.5 feet of this building should be hidden by curve. What does Google Earth have to say about this building, though? It's 162 feet tall, and the lower rooftop is slanted between 132 and 134 feet. With those numbers, this observation is almost exactly as expected. You'd almost think that somebody used real science, because the curve calculator literally predicted this observation to the foot. The Flat Earth explanation for this is that objects getting farther away will disappear from the bottom up. Because of, well, reasons. But the bottom up as it gets farther away doesn't explain this. These tankers are closer to me and 80 feet tall, yet they're not in my image. These tanks are even closer, and they're 70 feet tall, and directly between the camera and that building, yet they are not in my image. None of the trees or buildings are visible, yet they are closer to me. Nothing from this flight line is visible, yet it is all closer to me than that building. And you will also notice a distinct lack of beach line or trees anywhere in this image. My question is, how does the Flat Earth explain this? Why am I not able to observe a 70-foot oil tank that is literally in direct line of sight between my camera and that building that I can see? Now, according to the curve calculator, that tanker is behind 107 feet of curve, well hidden from view. And even closer, the Coast Guard building is 50 feet tall. And according to the calculator, it's behind 88 feet of curve. Unless someone can find an inferior mirage in this image, or wants to claim that there was a 140-foot swell that day, I'm pretty sure this is the evidence flat earthers have been asking for. The exact locations where these photos were taken and that building is listed below. If anybody'd like to double check my math, I'm talking to you, Jaren, please do so. I welcome all comments and corrections. Thank you for joining me again, everyone. If you haven't seen my recent videos on the Cavendish experiment, I invite you to go check them out. I'm in the full testing phase right now and hopefully should have solid data soon. Come over and see gravity doing its thing in real time. And if you haven't done so, I invite you to click the subscribe button down below and ring the bell to ensure that you get notifications as these new videos come out, especially with the experiment as it's getting into the final phases. If you like what I'm doing, please let me know down in the comments. If you don't like what I'm doing, please let me know down in the comments. All I ask is that you keep it polite. And stick around until next week if you want to see what's so special about this amazing panorama.